Welcome back. We are going to talk about the map method now. Let's now start seeing the three data transformation methods in practice, starting with the map method in this video. As we learned, the map method is yet another way that we use to loop over arrays. But unlike for each, the map method will give us the brand new array, and this new array will contain in each position the result of applying a callback function to the original array elements. So let's see how that works. And let's start by bringing back our movements array here. So we will once more work with these movements. So in this one, we'll try to convert them to US dollar. So let's suppose these movements are in euros. Now we want to convert them to US dollar. Let's suppose that 1 euro is $1.1. So let's just store that conversion rate here in the first separatable variable. So we'll write our code here. We'll say constant. We'll write euro to USD, which is 1.1 conversion rate. Okay. And now what we want is basically multiply each element. So we will say movements dot map, and then here we want our function callback function, which is function of which is the move here in this case. So here in callback function, we need to return the value that we want the new array to have in the current position. So in this case, we want the original array times euro to USD conversion rate. So we'll just simply return here euro to USD. Okay. And then let's just store this in a variable. So let me just say here constant movements USD equals to movements.map function. Okay, let's now log to console. Let's just say console.log. And also we'll just console.log to movements USD. Let's just inspect that. Yeah, we are getting error because here we have our constants movement array, right? As you can see here, it is commented out. So let me just copy this and then just bring it out here down so that it will work right now. Now when we run this, see here it works. But anyway, here is the result. Now never mind these multiplication errors here. I'll explain you little bit later where they come from. But essentially this new value here is now 220, as you can see here, and which is exactly 200 times 1.1. So indeed we end up with this new array containing all this movement, but convert it from euro to dollars, and again that's basically that is exactly what we returned here from this callback function. We could of course have written simply say something else like uh, return 23 here instead of writing this here. And so what do you think we'll end up in this situation? See, we simply have the array of the same length which of each position contains 23. That's because we returned the callback function. So in each iteration of the original movements array, it simply puts 23 into the new array at the same position. But of course, that's a little bit useless. So let's just put it back to our original thing. Okay. And so indeed, the original movements array was not mutated at all. So indeed, the map method really only returns in new array with the new elements. And that is really the fundamental of how the map method works. So we can use this and we will use it in all kinds of different situations. Now, just for fun, let's write the same thing here using the for of loop. Okay, here we'll just say for constant move of movements. So in this loop, we want to create a new array, right? So what we'll just do is we basically declare here outside constant movements USD for, we'll set this to empty array, and then here we'll just say movements USD for dot push of move into euro to USD, and then we'll simply just say console.log movements to USD for. So let me just stop this for now. As you can see here, we got the same result as before. Okay. Now here in the map method, we use a function to solve the problem of creating a new array. While here we loop over one array and then manually create a new one. So these are completely different philosophies, or we could say that paradigms. So one line with the functional programming, which is something that I have mentioned a couple of times in this course. We'll talk about this later in the greater details, and in modern JavaScript, there is definitely push going on in the direction of fundamental programming, so over a more functional language. So using this method together with the callback functions like this one is the new and modern way of doing stuff. All right, but now let's actually make our callback function here look a little bit more cleaner. So with this callback function, we can simplify it greatly. Do you remember the arrow functions? We could perfectly use the arrow functions here and simplify here into just one line of code. So here is my challenge for you. Do you think you can do that yourself? So basically replacing this here, the callback function, as you can see. So here we are talking about. So for now, let me just bring it back and then copy. We'll just put it here so that when we run, see here we got the, okay. Now here we'll just copy this, and then here itself we'll just paste it, and then we'll just comment this out, and then here we'll just convert this into arrow function right now. So constant movements, here we'll just say dot map of, so here we'll need to remove the function here. So here we'll just say the arrow function move into euro to USD, and we'll simply just remove this here written. Okay, so we'll remove this curly braces and everything as well. So when we run this, so you see that the result is exactly the same, and here we know we have a nice and clean one line callback function just like this. However, many people don't like this way, the way it looks. So they argue this lacks the function and then the return keyword, which they say it leads to a bad readability and it makes the whole thing more difficult to understand. While I see that that might be true, but I actually do prefer the fact that how much smaller and cleaner this code is. So in my opinion, if you understand well how the arrow function actually works, then you will become familiar with this pretty quickly. So there is no problem in writing the code like this. Okay, the main thing that you need to keep in mind is that we are actually returning this value here. Okay, so here instead of after the arrow function, here we are returning this value, but we won't write here any return. So simply I'm just telling you there. So I will use the arrow functions in these situations in the rest of the course because I believe they are perfect for the small callback functions. In my opinion, they are really developed for this kind of application. But as always, if you do prefer in the regular function syntax, then please feel free to do that way. And with that being said, let me experiment a little bit more and explore the map method and some more. just like just like for each method, the math method also has access to the exact same three parameters besides the current array element, which is the one. Here we get access to the current index as well as the whole array. So let's now use the map method to loop again over the moments. So, but this time we are going to create a string similar to the one step we printed to the console earlier using the for each method. So let me actually get that logic from the above. Moments dot map of, so we'll just write moments dot map, and then here from the previous for each, see from the previous for each we need to get this. So all this statement, so just copy this and then we'll just put it back down here. So inside here we want the move and then I and then array, and then here we use the arrow function, and then let's just paste that down here. Okay, now this case we will not log to console, so instead we want to return the string so that it gets into the new array that results from the map method. Okay, so in order to get that, so let's just put this in the constant moments description, and then here we'll just remove this console.log and then we'll just simply put return, and then we'll just remove the braces here. Here as well, we'll just remove the curly braces. Okay, when we save this, okay. So let me actually just go ahead and call this now console.log. So here we want moments description. So when we run this, as you can see here, so indeed here we get this string that we previously here logged to the console, right? So with this value here we are getting this. So let me just say here, so after here let me just declare this here. So we want our movement of I plus 1. Okay, and then here you just say you move greater than 0, then we use deposit or else withdraw. So here let's see, and also here we'll just say math dot okay. So after writing this line of code, so there is no need to write this if and else return statements here, because we just simply declared everything here in this one line of code. Okay, when we just save this, and also here we don't have the arrow function here, right? So we can simply just go ahead and remove this as well. Yeah, here we are getting the error, right? Because here after the arrow function we are writing right, so we don't require this curly braces, and also here after writing this operator function we don't use this semicolon. So when we run this now, see here we got the same output. So this has nothing to do with the map method. So we are using our knowledge to write this one, and we have removed the if else and written as well, but still we get the same output. But also we don't need here array, so we just removed it here. And it's a good idea to keep in mind why we actually get access to these two parameters here, and one more time all we do here is to just pass the callback function here, okay, into the map method, right? But we don't call this function by ourselves. It is the map method who will call this function for each of the array elements in the movement array, okay. Now each time the map method calls or callbacks, it simply passes the current array element as well as the current index and the whole array, okay, here in this case. With this, I hope that by now it is crystal clear how this all works. Now you could say that what we did here with the map method is essentially the same as what we did for each method, but in fact there is a big difference between those two approaches. So before we printed each line individually to the console, so as we are looping over the array, so in each of the iterations, we performed some actions that was then visible in the console. So we can call this a side effect. So this for each method creates a side effects. But here with the map method, all we did was to return of the strings from the callback. And so basically they got added into a new array. And then finally we logged the entire array to the console, not the element one by one. So here in this map method, we did not create a side effect in any of the iteration. All we did was to build a brand new array, and this idea of side effect will become important again as we talk more about functional programming. Great. This is how the map method works. So let's just move on to the next method.